Hey guys, We Quilt Studio here, and I'd like to introduce you to my new app, and I'm calling it TCQ, Touch to Color a Quilt Block. And it focuses on helping us to arrange our strip sets that you see here for a multicolor double pinwheel block. In this case, it's a 4-color pinwheel block. And those are kind of hard to figure out, like how to arrange your strip sets and how to draw your diagonal line on your strip sets. And so I devised a system for it. And at first I made an Excel spreadsheet, and then from there I made an app. And now you really don't need the Excel spreadsheet. You can actually use the app because there are strip set, kind of like a summary instructions here for your strip sets. Once you got this down pat, you're pretty much good to go. So let me explain to you how this app corresponds with your actual fabric. So the purpose of the app is to pretty much just get your coloring that you like for your block. And the block you see here that I'm coloring is really just the right side, because your strip sets actually make 2 full blocks. So you have part 1 and part 2 for your strip sets. So this block that you see here and this block is imitating this up here, this diagram up here on the right. This block actually consists of part 1 and part 2, which I'm calling them, like I'm numbering them 1, 2, 3, and 4 as part 1. And part 1 makes like the letter A without the horizontal line. So it's these 2 and these 2. But in order to kind of like decide on our coloring, we have to color in part 2. So part 2 would be like these 4. So part 2 makes a V. So it would be, you know, this one, this one, this one, and this one. So we have to incorporate part 2 in our coloring, is my point. Because once we get our coloring, then we know how to arrange our strip sets down here. And that's what you see here, the tan and the red. And I kind of have them already put right sides together, but they would look like this. So you have your tan and your red and your black and your silver. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And you can even see how it goes clockwise, okay? And on part 1, you actually press your seams towards 4 on this strip set, so you can see they're pressed towards number 4. So imagine this as a long strip set that you originally stitched, and then you press your seams towards 4. And then on the black and the silver, you press your seams towards 2. Let me zoom in on that. So you can kind of see that here. It says press towards 4 which is the dark in this case. And then for your black and silver, it says press towards 2. Okay. So that's just for your strip sets. And then when you're done with that, long strip set, and you're done pressing them, you cut them into your units. Okay. You make a nice little square. And then once you have your units cut, then you put them right sides together. And because you pressed them correctly, 1 towards 4, this is pressed towards 4, and this is pressed towards 2, they just nest together. They just kind of snap together and nest. And then that's when you draw your diagonal from upper left to lower right. It might be easier to actually draw your diagonal before you go and nest them, because then you're just working with one strip set. But you want to draw it on the tan and the red. So you draw your diagonal, then you put them right sides together, nesting them nicely, and sew a 1/4 inch on either side of your diagonal, and then you cut it. Oops. Okay. And then once you cut it, that's when you get, I'll just kind of fold it over on the cut line. That's how you get your little quadrant. Okay. So you could see 1 and 4, that's what, let's zoom out now. So you can see 1 and 4 and 2 and 3. Okay. Well, that's what you see right here. Okay. Okay. But notice you're only going to get 2 of these. Okay, so you'll get this one, and then you'll get this one. Okay. So now you see 1 is really small. The one tan is really small, and the 4 is big. Well, where is that one? It looks like it's right there. So that would go there, right? So part 1 then, if you come on here, you'll see that, yes, indeed, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Is there. Okay. And it's in green. And then when we want to see the other quadrant, we just kind of take the 2 and flip them. And then you can see that that one goes right here. Okay. I take it away, you can kind of see. Oh, it's the same. I know the camera, it's hard to get everything in. But one thing you'll notice is this side is going counterclockwise. And that should kind of make sense because, like, we had to flip this to, to get to this quadrant, and then we flip it. And so now the numbers are going counterclockwise. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Instead of clockwise, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then you might say to yourself, well, I thought we were making the letter A or part of the letter A. What about this quadrant and this quadrant, right? Well, that's why you have to do this twice. So let's put this here the way it was. You know, it was kind of like that, and I was showing it to you like that. So you have to do another one, okay? Same thing. And then that'll do these two. And then that's your letter A, okay? And at the same token, you have to do two of them when you get to part 2, which is the V's. And the difference between part 1 and part 2 is that in part 2, you're pressing towards the 2 lighter ones in this case, towards 1B and 3B. Okay, and so you'll notice that my V here, which is part 2, everything is in B's, okay? So it's 1B, 2B. I can zoom in again. So like, boy, it is hard to read. So like 1B, 2B, 3B, and 4B, counterclockwise on the right side. Okay. And then on the left side, though, you're going clockwise. So everything is opposite for when you get to part 2. You know, here you're counterclockwise on the right, here you're clockwise on the left. And remember, that's because these 2 quadrants were matched up together. Because remember in part 1, when I first showed you this 1, 2, 3, and 4 here, and how it was going clockwise, okay? But its counterpart over here, because I had to flip it, okay? Its counterpart now is going, try to get my hand, counterclockwise. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So just kind of keep that in mind that yes, whatever they're matched up with, you know, if it's clockwise on this side, then its counterpart will be counterclockwise over here. And at the same token, if it's counterclockwise on this side, it'll be clockwise on this side. It's crazy how it all fits together. But just remember, as long as you press your seams in the right direction from the start, that's all you have to know, really, because then after that, the seams will just kind of guide you on which way to go. It's really cool how it all fits together. And, you know, the reason why we have to press towards the light on part 2 is so that when we do snug these up together, you know, when I sew this quadrant to this quadrant, oh, I'm not zoomed out. When I sew this quadrant to this quadrant, I have to make sure that they nest. So if I take these away, show you that, I hope these labels don't come off, but you'll notice that the seams, okay, these are pressed down towards the tan, and these are pressed up. And so that's why these then are going to nest when I go to sew them right sides together. Let me just grab these two so those labels don't fall off. They're not real sticky. So the same thing here. You can see the seams are pressed in different directions, okay? And so kind of hold the bottom one, take your thumb and snap it right in there. And so they nest really nice. And then when you sew those, when you sew this, guess what? You get to spin that seam allowance as well. And I don't know if I showed you, you know, it'll be like that. It'll be sewn and you'll have this seam allowance that you'll be spinning. Let me grab my first rendition, which got me started in all this. The colors aren't right, but you'll see the seams. This was when I was watching the Eleanor video and learning how she made her pinwheels. But you'll notice that on the back, see, hers are like, you know, the traditional pinwheel where it's just, you know, 2-color in the center and 2-color on the outside. Well, I guess this is a 4-color. I started getting a little crazy, but what you'll notice is these 2 side seams that I just mentioned here. So when you sew these 2 together, they're going to be able to be spun. You can see that spun, and these little things are already spun. You can see them here. They look like little arrowheads, you know, right in this intersection. And look how flat that is. It's just, it's lovely. And so it tells you how to spin them. Like you can see how you're just going around, you know, kind of clockwise here. And it lets you know. That's why you don't really want to back stitch here, because it's easier to get everything, your stitches out when you spin. I think I have a video on spinning that I have out there, a public video. But so that's like a part A one. And so yeah, I mean, Eleanor was spinning the center seam, and look at the pretty little pinwheel in the center. And I wonder if she was the pioneer of spinning, you know, seams. She didn't spin these other ones. I'm the crazy one who's now spinning everything because it just lays so flat and it's so easy to long arm then, and it's just lovely. So let's look at, okay, so this is your A for the letter A for part 1. Let's look at this and see. So on this one, this would be part 2. You can see I'm still spinning in a clockwise manner. I was curious about that. You don't really want to cut those threads that you loosen when you spin. This is just frayed off of here. So yeah, let me make sure that I'm correct in that. Let's see. Got our V, part 2. Okay, yeah, so this one, See that you don't, that's the thing, you don't have to think when you're spinning. It tells you this one you're going counterclockwise. This the way that you pressed your original strip sets will guide you in how to spin. So these over here are counterclockwise. Let me make sure. They both should be. Yeah, counterclockwise. Let me make sure they all are on this side. Yeah, they all are. Okay. Isn't that crazy? I mean, even see, I get confused too. It's just insane. But they're all going to fit together. Like even this, when I come and take these two, you can see they're going to nest. And so the only thinking I had to do, see how nice and flat that is? And then I'll be able to spin that. The only thinking I had to do on this was at the very beginning when I made my strip sets, you know, just concentrate on which way you're pressing the seams, the seam allowance. So in part 1, you're pressing towards, this is 4 and 2, okay, the dark in this case. So 4 and 2 for part 1, and then in part 2, you're pressing towards 1 and 3. And these aren't numbered, the second set. But, you know, in my case, it's the light. This is 1 and this is 3. Probably easier because these are numbered. So 1B and 3B. I keep forgetting. Part 2, I'm calling the B's. So these are pressed towards 1B and 3B. You can see it's pressed towards, down towards 3B. I see I forgot to put the B in again. So it's just crazy. And so, you know, let's try to make it fun, right? Let's have this app to just let us first just have fun and decide on what color we want. You know, I just have these default colors here so that you can follow the chart. So if you ever get lost, you know, you come and click your color and then, oh, okay, that's color number 1. Where does number 1 go? And you just look up here. Oh, it goes right there. And then you just touch it, you know, and so on. And of course, you can pick other colors. There's sliders and RGBs you can set. You can make a color and so on. So, but that's for when I zoom in on this. So we'll do that next. And there is, when you watch the video, this little, you're going to notice this right here. I made it clearer. I have it saying now to press, where's my pointer? Press opposite for part 2. It's just kind of trying to sum it up a little bit for part 2, but part 2 is just the pressing is different. So in the video, I might have something like flip part 2 or something, and that I thought was too confusing. So I changed the wording there. And I just want to make sure that you understand in part 2, it's just the pressing that's the opposite. So the diagonal line is still drawn from upper left to lower right. So it's just that your seams are pressed opposite. Okay. So now we go to the fun part, and that is the app itself. So we'll go ahead and zoom in on the app for the rest of the video. So for this block, we're basically just going to look at this right side and just replicate these numbers down here. So these default colors are here every time you come back to the pinwheel, but of course you can change them. And, you know, like, say I wanted, instead of the red, maybe I wanted a bright blue. And of course you can take the slider. I'll try not to get in the camera. And going to the left makes it darker. And, you know, less green on that one, less blue. Now you've got like a teal. And taking it to the right makes it lighter. So I'll take the red to the light. See how it got lighter, and now it's getting kind of muddy. When they start to line up, they become gray. So when they line up in, like, you know, a vertical line at any point on here, like if I bring it there, it's just a darker gray. I get them. It's easier for me to see. I know, but then my hand gets in the way. Try it. I'm not a righty though. Maybe I can go over here. Oh, yeah. Sorry, guys. I know I'm in the way, but see, it's just a darker gray. And then, you know, if you know your RGB values, you can put them there. And like, say I knew my RGB value, I would just click, and then I'd probably go to the right side of the number and say I knew this had to be, I don't know, 230. So I'll just backspace all the way out, 230, and hit done. Nothing happens to this preview until you hit make color. And that's that color. So these two stayed the same, but I just made it have more green and it's lighter as well. Now, what's nice about having this palette is they've got the shades. So if you want something that's light, but, you know, say I wanted a light teal, well, you can see this row is the teals. And like if I click here, that's a really dark teal. And there it gets lighter and lighter. Whoops, wrong one. Lighter teal. But as I come over here, I start to lose the green. You know, I don't really see a teal there. But I can just click on it. I know I'm kind of in the family. And we know teal is blue and green. But this has lost its green, and you say, well, wait a minute, the greens are already to the right, or the green is already to the right, so is the blue. So how do I give that more green? Well, you just take away some of the blue. So we'll take away the blue, and now it's become a light teal, more of a teal than before. Maybe I went too much, and I actually had the app at one point in this production. I had a slider here, you know, for light dark, but it was inconsistent. I wasn't getting something right, so I took it off. But eventually in an update, I am going to put the slider back on for light dark. Hey guys, interrupting the video here because I wanted to let you know that I did make an update, and the update I made is that I did add these two buttons to easily make a color darker or lighter, just like in steps, in really fine steps. And the beauty of that is that you can make a jewel tone quite easily. You notice I have 3 colors here. So let's say, for instance, I pulled this blue. If I wanted to make it darker, so you'll watch here, you'll watch the sliders change and the numbers change. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and you could just keep going. I'll just keep clicking and it keeps getting darker. And at the same token, I can go lighter. And it's just really nice because you don't have to worry about moving the sliders, you know, in the same manner to get the same kind of like shade family. So yeah, I just wanted to let you know about that. So with this one, it was really nice because I just basically started with, say, this color, and I just started making it darker. I could probably go that dark for these outers, because the way I've seen this in examples is these are darker than these, and maybe I could have gone with this one. I'm not sure. Let's see if I assign it. I mean, it definitely shows the difference now with that one, so I'll temp save that. So yeah, and then what you can do then, the sky's the limit now when you do see more. Without taking too much of the video, I'm just going to load. Notice how I was able to then make the pinwheel in a jewel tone because the colors come up, the same colors come up. They're in a different order down here, but that was because it was specifically for the pinwheel. So we have different color combos or different order of colors. And then down here, I can't remember which one I brought in. Let me load temp. Oh yeah, I brought in that one and notice the jewel tones. And then when you see the quilts for these, you get that monochromatic quilt. It's just really beautiful. I just love it. And then here's those two. Just beautiful. So I didn't want to have to redo the entire 2-hour video, so I just thought I'd jump in and let you know that I did figure out the dark light, and it's not a slider, but they're buttons, and I think the buttons are so much better. All right, guys, back to the video. So yeah, so you can assign that, and there it is there. So you don't have to stay with the original colors. And one other thing I wanted to mention is there's kind of a difference between the two rows that you see here. And I tried to make it so it would be less confusing. So this first row, these 3 blue buttons in particular, of course we know what these are, they basically reset just a blank quilt block of whatever. It could be the pinwheel. This one's reset to pinwheel. This one is reset to an in-app block. So there's like, I think it's 20 blocks that come with the app, and they're just right in the app. You don't have to load them on your phone or anything. So they're already included in it. And this is the button that you click to bring them up. And this is the button you click to bring back that app. Say something else was on the screen. Not that app, but to bring back that quilt block. Let's see what I had. Okay, I must have been working on that one. That's the one called Diamond in a Square. So see how it just brought that up, but it didn't change the coloring down here. which is nice. So if you had a specific coloring that you liked, but you wanted to try another quilt block, this stayed. And then this one is reset to upload whatever you had uploaded previous from your phone, because you can you can upload anything, any image. It could be a picture of your pet or your child or an applique or an embroidery file that you stitched and you just kind of took a screenshot of it. As long as you cropped it in a nice square manner, it won't get distorted when it gets brought in, and then you can color it or not. You don't even have to color it. You could just bring it in. So I don't know what I had uploaded previous. Let's see. Oh, okay. This is not part of the 20 that are in app. This is just one that I thought I would start making a bunch of them and put them on my website for really cheap so that you can upload really nice, clean outlines to the app. This is that bow tie, either way. And so, you can color that. And, oops, maybe I want it black. That's your preview. I can hit undo or just go over it. But maybe you want that to be black. And I don't know, maybe that. And maybe silver. And then you can save that, and that's when you would hit your temp save. So these are just temporary saves. If you hit temp save again, the last thing you temp save gets overwritten. But temp save will save your coloring, and it'll save an image, this as an image as well. So you can then load the temp one at a future point or whatever, as long as you haven't written over it. So I don't know what I had. I don't know if I hit save temp on this one. I don't think I did. But let's see what I had saved in temp prior to this. Trying not to get in the camera. Oh, okay. It was that diamonds in a square, or diamond in a square. I think it's diamonds with an S in a square. I was playing around with that. And see how when you load temp, it brings your colors, your color swatches up, which is nice. And then you can leave those down there if you wanted to reset to, let's see. Okay, that was the one I brought in from the app, because that one does come with the app. Okay, so back to the bow tie. So if I wanted to use these colors on the bow tie, which I uploaded from my phone, because remember that's not part of the in-app designs, then I can use these colors for there. So this is your preview. Think of this as like your paintbrush or your paint bucket. So whatever is showing here is what's going to paint. So you click these, to make it show up down there. Okay. So if I want that one, say there, and then, I know this is kind of like a monochrome. I don't know why it keeps going up. Sometimes my phone does that. And maybe you want it to look like something like that. And now if I temp save that, it's going to write over those diamonds in a square. So I'm probably not going to do that right now. But while we're on this screen, let me show you these two buttons and how they work. So we'll just go to the, well, we'll go to the in-app button first. So these are the 20 designs that come with the software or app, I should call it. Dating myself. Okay, and I thought at the end I would just put in a blank square, and then I figure, well, you have to put in a half square triangle, right? So I put those in. These are nice because you can use them together, you know, one's pointing that way and one's pointing that way, but just know that you can rotate your blocks as well when we get to that screen. Duck and ducklings. This one is, it's always hard to figure out, but I also have pictures of the designs colored to help you. But that's not in the app. It's actually on a separate file, but you can upload those pictures to your phone and just to see them, to help you out a little. Cat's Cradle, Blazing Star. I had to put a 9 patch in, of course. I wasn't sure if I should have put this one in. This one is always pretty and easy. This is that one where I think you just have strips and then you cut them. You sew them together. Oh yeah, you sew 3 strips together, and you know, 2 of them, and then you put them right sides together, and I think you stitch around the outside, and then you cut that, oops, back, and then you cut, where was I? This one? Oh, oh well, I selected it. And then you cut it, and then you rearrange them to make something like this. So this would be one where, and notice my coloring is still there. Yeah, I don't know why that's doing that. I believe it's, then you skip, so you skip this one, and then you go over here. Oh, I thought it was 3. Maybe it's 2, but I guess you could do it in a 3 color way as well. I've seen it done so many different ways. Yeah, I don't know why it's doing that. I'm getting in the way of the camera. So yeah. So those are the in-app designs. And one thing I also wanted to show you, if I end up adding to this, which I'm hoping to add more free ones, you know, say maybe if I get 10 more, 20 more, or something like that, then I could add them into an update. But there's a search list here. So if I just put in star, you know, there's 4 designs that say star in them. So you click done, and then this doesn't go away until you hit this button here, right here, down, then that'll go away. And then there's no cancel on here, but if you pick something, say you picked the Hunter Star, but you really didn't want to pick anything, you could just hit undo twice, and it brings back the last design that was up, but it's only missing 1 color. I thought that was weird, but you know, you still have your coloring down here, so you can always fill it in. So that's the in-app, and then the upload, this is, you know, anything that's on your phone. Now, what I've learned is that these Androids, everything is about privacy now. And so the only folders or quote unquote albums that are going to show up are going to be ones that your Android deems as a public folder or a public album. And when I read about that, I was like, well, wait a minute, long arm designs, that's one of my albums on my phone. It's not like public. I don't know why they use that word public. And then I read that if you put an image that was a public image and you put it in that album, then that album becomes like a public album, or they're calling it a public folder here. So when I saw that, I was like, okay, I'll just put my designs in whatever is showing up here as my public folders. So I have like some quilt blocks in here. And in embroidery designs was showing up. So I was putting, you know, some of my coloring book pages in there. This one from Messenger, I found that Messenger, this folder, I didn't create this folder. My Android created it. And the reason it created it was because I was on my phone and I sent a message. Well, I actually sent a message to myself on my laptop. And that's because I have 2 Facebook accounts for that reason. And so I sent a picture to my Facebook account, my other Facebook account called Lisa Sews. And then I did that on my laptop. And then I came to my phone here and I went into Facebook on my phone. Let's see. Here. And I went to my messages. And here's my other account, Lisa Sews. And I made this in Krita and in GIMP. I took the background away and whatnot. But if you take that image and then you hit the download button, it automatically goes into a folder called Messenger. So I did that with, you know, some images that I wanted to upload. So like, here's my Messenger folder and I have some embroidery designs in there. So for instance, like this one, this design was created with Embird embroidery software, and that's the software that I teach. And now since this is a nice solid, you know, background here, it's not stitches or anything. In fact, this, I think it's the vector version of the embroidery. I don't think I see stitches there. I don't think, I'm not sure. But if it were stitches, you can't color the stitches because they're not like a flat surface, but you can color like the background of the stitches or what have you. So for this, if say I wanted to color it beautiful, and maybe I want to, so it's showing there the preview, maybe I want to do that. And I don't know which one I want to use. I'm blocking the camera again. And maybe I want to see, I haven't checked to see if the background will fill in. Let's see. Oh yeah, it does. See, it didn't get in there. I could probably get in there. I don't know. This has one of those flat things, so let's see. Oh yeah, it filled in there. They make them where they're just pointing. Oh yeah, it filled in there. And then maybe down there. But, you know, it's beautiful. And you can temp save that. And you could, if you were an embroiderer, you could embroider this on a bunch of blocks and use it with other quilt blocks. And you'll see that in the next screen. So, yeah, or you can go to, you know, other folders. Now here's the log cabin. That's not part of the software. Here's the pictures that I was talking about to kind of help you out, you know, with like, here's the blazing star. Here's the Lemoyne star. Oh, see, I clicked on the wrong one. I clicked on the actual image, but I could probably color this. I mean, it'll color, you know. I mean, the sky's the limit. Let's go back though. Say I wanted to color that, I can. And of course, you can change your colors down here. These colors went with, let me load temp. Okay, it went with that design. So these colors are temp saved. So I can go back to reset to upload. Okay, there's the log cabin, because remember these three blue ones bring back blank outlines of blocks. So, but like I was saying, let's just say I wanted to try a different color, you know, like maybe one of the teals. And I don't have to assign it yet, or I can, you know, say I didn't want to lose these colors, but remember these colors are temp saved. They're saved in temp 1. So even if I did assign this, as long as I didn't hit save temp again, I can get back to these colors, you know. But let's just say I wanted to use the teal, and then I'm not going to put it in there, or I can. So in my mind, that would be like the darkest. So I would assign it there. And then maybe I would go to, like, is that one? That would be like the lighter teal. So then, I don't know if that's enough of a difference, but I know on the log cabin blocks, they're pretty close in color as you go down. But you can always try to lighten it up. So you can take these to the right. Maybe that's too much. So maybe there, and then I can assign it. And then you can color over this, usually. Didn't make much of a difference, but. And then you can keep going with that, you know. So I can go ahead and follow the same pattern then and just go lighter. I don't know if that was it or not. I could assign it. And then that doesn't really look teal. I think it's got too much green. So I would take some out. Oh, it's not moving. Assign it. That looks more blue. And I could hit undo just to make sure. A lot of times though, you don't even need to hit undo. You can just color over it because you're working with this vector block. It was a vector. It's not now, but it was originally. But, you know, just to make sure it's crisp and clean. And then you could go even lighter. This is where I really want the slider. So I went all the way 255 on both, and now I'll just back off on the blue. I can't see if I'm doing this or not. Okay. Maybe a little more. And now I'm getting too close to that one. So I might have to bring in some red, I don't know, to get it to be really light. Or what you could do is you can follow this line, you know, and go to the lightest one. So if that's the lightest one, because I want to put a light one right there, but it's got too much blue, I could just take away some of the blue. And now it looks like a light teal, kind of. I could do a better job if I'm not on camera. And I can assign it there. And then click it there. But for these log cabins, of course, this side is usually a different color altogether, but then you do the shading of it. So I could temp save that or not, you know, because I have those other ones temp saved. So since you can only temp save it once, you could just take a screenshot here with your phone of this, and you can do it so that you can see your RGBs of each of the 4 colors. And on my phone, the screenshot is my power button and the volume down button at the same time. So I could go back up. I could take one screenshot like that. And then I have that. And then I could just, you know, select each color and just make sure this is showing, and then just do some screenshots if I wanted to save that. The other thing you could do is just get a design here on screen 1 that you like, and bring it over to screen 2 by hitting See More. That takes you to the next screen where you have 2 more blocks, and then you can even have more than 4 colors. You'll have 8 colors. There's just so many options. And then this button here is to load Temp 3, because on the next screen there's a 3rd block. So there's 3 blocks all together that you can, you know, work with at one time. And block 3, when we see it in a quilt, it's going to be on point. And you may not want it on point. You may want to see it just not on point. So you can load it here. And I'm trying to think, what did I have there? Let's see. Oh, okay. I had that block in 3. And there's the ones in 1. So let me see, what coloring did I have? Did I have the same colors? Because when you load temps, it brings up the coloring. So if I already have those colors, I wonder if they're the same. Let me hit temp 1. Oh no, I changed these a bit. I don't want to lose these for the purpose of the video, just because of the way I finally got it to be jewel toned. And so yeah, I forgot where I was going with this. There's so much here. But you can go to screen 2, and then it'll carry these colors with you, and then you can do more in screen 2. So I just kind of wanted to touch on all the buttons and what they did, because I do want to start back with just the pinwheel block, and but I just wanted you to know that there's so much more to this app than just that. So to go back to the default colors, what you want to do is hit See More to get to the next screen. And this is the second screen, just so you know. You can see your block there, the colors, and the colors are here. They're just in a slightly different order. And you've got another palette, sliders, and then you've got the same colors here in a slightly different order again. But that's screen 2. But when I go back, I'll see my default colors that came with the app. They show up again. So that's how you get these to show up. You just hit See More and then go back. So at any rate, let's go ahead then and let's start coloring this. So you can see color 1 here. So it previews there. And 1 goes here and here. Okay, so we're just doing the bright green right now. And so it's there, but then it's opposite here. So see how if you look at this diagonal, this is kind of, I think of everything emanating from the diagonal line. So this is kind of emanating down. And then if I follow that diagonal, this block is emanating upwards. So that's the block we want. So they are kind of diagonal to each other, but they're not touching, you know. And so you've got the 2 outers, and then for number 1, the 2 inners are 1B and 1B. And that's in the second step. That's in part, not second step, but in part 2, because it's the B's. But like I was saying, we still have to color it in, right? So, but yeah, so they go here. They're kind of like straight on, you know, kind of in the center. And you'll notice the center little pinwheels, they do touch each other in the center. But the whole purpose of this system was to make sure that that's the only place that the same color is touching, because you'll notice these do not touch these out here, and neither will the rest of them, and you'll see as we go. So now we'll go to the black, and you can see it there. So your preview is down there. And so for the black, for number 2, you can see up here that number 2 just finishes off the corners. So here it is here, and it finishes the corners. And then it finishes the box here, and this box here, square here, this half square triangle. So number 2 is easy because it just finishes everything. And there and there. Number 3 is the hard one. So with 3, I always start in the center, in these center pinwheels. It's just easier for me to see. And I always start with this one, and you can see it there. So 3 is up here, and then its diagonal is there, of course, because these touch each other. So I think of this as like the top of this square. And so again, I think of it as this diagonal is where everything emanates from. So this is emanating upward. So if I follow this down, then we want to emanate downward. You know, we don't want to click this one because then it'll be emanating in the same direction. So we don't want that. So we want it to emanate downward. Okay. And then for the outers, well, we don't want these silvers to touch the outer. So you say to yourself, well, if I click this one, they're going to be touching, and we don't want that. So it must be this one for up here in this corner. And it is, because when you put it, you see it doesn't touch either one of these. And then the same thing down here, you could use the same idea of this diagonal, okay, would be the emanating line. So this one is emanating downward from here down. So if I follow the line, we must want to emanate, upward from this line. So it must be this one. Because if I would touch this one, then it would be touching there, and we don't want that, right? So we'll touch that one. And then 4, of course, is easy because you just fill everything in. Oops, I touched 2. Okay. And so there it is. And you can see, the numbers all correspond, even the B's. Like I said, we do have to put the B's in there to complete our block. And so the whole purpose of this is like, if you like that coloring, then you can look down here at your strip sets and say, okay, I followed the guide. I did everything according to number. So this must be the way that I arrange my strips in parts 1 and 2. We'll hit Temp Save or Save Temp, and then we'll go ahead and hit See More. And there you see it up at the top. And they show up down here and down here. Now, the difference between all of these color swatches is the order. And for all you math geeks out there, we call that ordering either permutations or combinations. And permutations is where the order matters of how you combine things. There really aren't that many in our situation because we are excluding reverses because this is this is pretty much circular. Whether you look at it in here as a circle or here as a circle. And so we exclude any reverse orderings. So you really start eliminating a lot of possibilities. So it turns out there's 8 permutations for our double pinwheel. And you can see over here that these first 3 are the ones that are given in the app itself. So this would be screen 1, and then this would be on screen 2, both of these. So, and these are just the numbers. And color 1 is tan, color 2 is black, color 3 is silver. I should probably be looking up here. 1 is tan, 2 is black, 3 is silver, and 4 is red. And so we're mixing them up now. So now it's 1, 2, 4, 3, and that's on page 2. And then it's 1, 4, 2, 3, and that's at the bottom of screen 2. I should call them screens, not pages. And then these are other combinations that you might want to try. So if you can just correlate these numbers with the colors that you have chosen, then you can try these. The difference is you can kind of see like none of these three have the tan and the silver up in the corner. Okay, it has like, well, let's see, I have tan and silver here, but not up in the corner. And so this one has the tan and silver in the corner, and the red and silver are next to each other. Here, same thing in the corner, but the silver is with the black instead of the red. So these two kind of got switched. But remember, your numbering is in these quadrants here, just so you know. And then in this one, the tan is with the red in a corner, just like this one was, but the black and silver are switched. You can see they're switched here. So you have the red with the black. And that's very similar to this first one, the one that I like, where the red and black are together. It's just that it's just a little bit different on the corners. See the corners here of the black and tan, and this one has the red and the tan. So it can get confusing, but you know, at least you have the numbers here so you can play around with it. And then this one has the black and the silver up in the corner, and both of these do. And then things are switched up over here. I'm kind of showing it to you in the outers only because it's easier to see, but just remember that these colors correspond with this inner, or the quadrant, you know. So basically when you're looking at, say, this combination, and when you're selecting your little color swatches, your 4 little swatches, you just want to say to yourself, okay, so for swatch number 1, I'm going to put in my first color, which was tan. But for swatch number 2, I'm going to put in my third color, which was silver in this case. Okay. And then for swatch number 3, I'm going to put in my color 2, which was black in this case. And then for color 4, I'm going to put in my color 4, which was red. So that didn't change. So that might help you then in, you know, figuring out a system of filling in more color combinations. I just put this one here just to show you that there's only 8. I didn't want to leave it empty. Okay, back to the video. So what you'll notice is the first one has tan, black, silver, red, and then as you go down, this one, I don't know if you could see them all together, it's got the tan and the black just like up here, but these two are switched. So it's tan, black, red, silver. You know, these two are switched. And then looking at this one, when we get down to the third one, these two are switched. So it's tan, red, black, and silver. So when we get down here to the second block, if I touch, say, you could see my make colors empty, but if I touch, say, a color up there, it will show up here and it will show up down here. That's because, you know, you have the choice on whether to assign that color here or here or what have you. Now the red's already assigned on all of these, but say you chose this color, you know, or teal. It shows up on all of them. So what that means is I can assign it down, this teal down here now, instead of the red, and then use a completely different color here than I did up here. Now these up here, you can't assign. There's no assign buttons, so you'll always have your original up here, which is nice. And then down here, you can just go through just your same, you know, colors that you have up here, only in a different combination, just to familiarize yourself with the software. So in that case, now remember, it's just these two were switched. So now to fill these in here, you have to go by memory because there's no guide. Well, I already have it by heart, so I'll just do it. So I know my tans go here and then in the center. And then the black, I fill in the quadrants. I should have put some lotion on my hands. And then I finish off the squares. And then the red is number 3, which is up here and there. And then right and left. And then the silver, we just fill it in. Okay. So if I scroll now, you can see it is slightly different. On this one, we actually have light, dark, over the top. Whereas this one, we have light, dark, light. And you can kind of see why I like this one better. I don't know, it's just richer. Even though I know we're supposed to alternate, I mean, yes, this one is alternating up here, but not across here. Whoops, undo. So I'll have to point with this. So across here, you know, you have dark with dark and light with light. And I think that's why I like this one better now. I never thought I would like it like that. But then when you start using different colors, everything changes up. So yeah, so then we could go ahead and temp save that. So then we go down here, and again, this one is just, it's the same as 2. It's the same as this one, except these 2 are switched. So we can go ahead and I'll just try to be quick. Fill in the corners. And then the black is here. And now again, we've got the 2 darks. Oops, I didn't finish the black. So black is here. And here. And then the silver. So now this one, it's very similar to this one up here, and you'll see on the next screen, you'll be able to see all 3 of them together. But it's the corners that you want to look at. So this has black and tan in the corner and red and silver. And this has black and silver and red and tan in the corner. So it's just slightly different. So then we'll temp save that. And then now to compare all, we click here, and here they all are. And so you can see they are all slightly different. And so the only other thing would be a 4th combination would be, let me go back and we'll come back here. Let me load Temp to bring them back. And load Temp would be to go take this third one and go tan, red, silver, black. So it'd be tan, red, and this would be silver, and this would be black. So on this one, let's see if I hit undo, if it remembers it. I doubt it, but let's see. Oh, it took it away. Okay, never mind. So I said it would be, let's just reset to pinwheel. I still have this up here. So if I reset it, so it was tan. What did I say? Tan, red, silver, black. Because I was going to switch these two. Whoops. So we never had the red and tan in the corner. Tan, red. Whoops. And then I was going to do silver. And then black. That's probably why I didn't feel it was necessary, because it's got the two darks up here and the two lights together, just like the first one. Only the difference is the corners. It's the order. So here in the corners, you've got black and tan, whereas down there, you've got red and tan. And then you have black and silver, and you have red and silver. It's just crazy. I do like this one. I seem to like it with the two darks together. Let me temp save that. So then the one I'm making is this one, the one that I have on my table here. Compare all. So here's these two compared. Now if you touch one of them, they'll rotate. That's what this click block is. Just kind of reminding you, if you click it, you'll see this will be over here now. Or up here rather. It's just a 90-degree turn. So now the two darks are on the side. So it's, oh, I just flipped it again. So it's the same block, and that's what I mean about, you know, everything being circular here. We don't have that many combinations for this. Yeah, I don't know. I like it like that. But when we go and see the quilts, now that's what these pink buttons are for. This one is to see quilts 1 and 2, or quilt, sorry. We're going to see a quilt with blocks 1 and 2, these two, and then another quilt with blocks 1 and 3, these two. So, and then we'll go to the share save in a minute. So we'll just go ahead and click this. So there it is. Okay, and that's a little different. So for this one, I would say, I don't know how I feel about that red and black there. I would probably rotate one of them. Maybe I'll rotate number 1 so that it changes them both. This one's kind of cool looking. So remember now, these are 2 different blocks. So you'd have to make one set of your quilt all with this one, and then another set to make this one, which this would be a totally different arrangement of your strip sets. So let's go back and let's rotate that. See what change it made. Okay. That is quite different. Sometimes I can see a pinwheel, sometimes I can see a cross. These are kissing, that's kind of cute. I like that. The cross that I'm seeing, oh, it just went away. I had it in my eyes, and now it's gone. Where did I see the cross? I kind of see it here. Okay, I see it now. It's a real fat cross. Like that. So it's red on the vertical and black on the horizontal. When you include the fat, you know, the white of it, it would be red and white, black and white, black and white. It's not as easy to see the cross with this one. Just crazy. And so you can hit the back button here, or you could have scrolled up and hit the back button. So then if we want to just see quilt block 1 by itself, we would hit this button here. And there you have that. And that's pretty. And I could still rotate it on the previous screen, you know, just to maybe get a different look. So these are kind of going horizontal where they were going up and down before. We'll just rotate it back so I don't get confused. And then this one, quilt block 2 by itself. That's like, it seems like more dominant. Okay. Let's see what that one would be like. Rotated, kind of the same dominant look. But I'm seeing different shapes changing, so there's still movement. Look, that's just one block. So interesting. And then down here, this one is on point. Quilt block 3 is on point. That's why I put this to be available on screen 1 to actually be block 1 instead of 3, because maybe you know, didn't just want to see it on point, you know. So this is it on point, meaning it's rotated clockwise 90 degrees. So this point will be up at the top. And that's so pretty. Oh, I love that. This block looks good with anything, I swear. Now, with these on point, I did have a hard time figuring out how to get, you know, more blocks inside here. I was just having a hard time with that, so maybe in a future update I could figure it out. But yeah, I mean, these take up more room when you rotate them, and so it was a whole thing. So, but that's very pretty. And again, if I would rotate it, then 90 degrees, this point here would be up at the top. So it would just look slightly different. This would be up at the top. So it's still beautiful no matter what. So we'll just go back and we'll go, let's see, should we just go, what was I going to do? I was going to maybe go back home, and then this is where I was saying I could load temp 3. So that was that one, you know, that was on point. We could load it in this position. temp save it, and then because maybe we want to see this one with quilt block 2, you know, so we didn't see that. We didn't see those two together. So this is, we can load temp 2, and down here now, we could actually bring in a different block if we wanted, because this is just going to be the same as this one, because we put it in that spot. So I could say, go into my in-app and maybe bring in, I wanted to show you something really simple and elegant. Which one was it? I think it might have been this one. Yeah. Let's go to the Duck and Ducklings. I think it was this one. And then I was going to pair it with two other blocks, but we'll get to that in a minute. And then I'll let you guys go. But for this one, I made it really simple. And I did, I think, oh, I don't have a color selected. Look what that did, how cool that is. Let's undo that. And I think it was red. I think this is what I did. And then I think this is it. Did I do black on these, or was it the other way around? I don't know if I did red in here and black on the ends, but then I just left this white. So let's temp save that, because it's really going to give you a lot of contrast, you know, let's say that block. So now this was 2 and this was 3. And let's see. So here they are. So we'll see the quilt now with these 2 and then these 2. So that pretty much gives us kind of what we saw before, but right away I saw a cross here. And, you know, I see it there. And everything keeps changing. So, but, you know, if these were really, really different blocks, then you would definitely see a difference. And then that's really cool. Now that shows you the power of contrast and how beautiful it is. I just love that. I could have made the background silver. I don't know how, you know, shocking that would be, or this really gives that wow power with the drastic color difference with the white. But like I said, I could go back and now, did I show you the screenshots? Because I've edited this. I don't think I showed them to you on this page. Let me think. No, I didn't. So did I show them on the first page? Now I'm getting confused between all my edits. But on this page, if you click this button and this here or this button, either one, clicking the button takes a screenshot of the whole quilt and the blocks and everything. So you don't have to like use your phone to do a screenshot. You just click the button and then it asks you, you know, it's first it says screenshot was successful. Would you like to share, save your screenshot? Because everything is about permissions. And I'll say yes. And then you get all of these options. You can email it, put it in your drive, Facebook it, message it to someone, and all these other things. So I'll just put it in my drive. And there it's the preview. and it's going to go in my folder. That's where I've chosen. You could choose a different folder in your drive. And this screen with these type of screenshots, it's giving you a timestamp. There's not a date there, it's just a time, but it'll, you know, what are the chances of it being the same time as something else you saved, you know, if you're in a hurry or something. And but you can always rename it too. You can completely change the name of it, but for right now I'll just let it go and I'll click done, or I could just hit upload, you know, upload to drive. If you click done, you know, it shows you this. Maybe you could change an account or what have you. So it's done, it's uploaded, and if I wanted to see it, I would go to my drive on my home page. There's my drive. And I must have been looking at something else. Okay, it looks like I'm in the wrong account on my drive. Yeah, so let me click there. Let me go into my regular accounts. I put it in my screenshots. It should be here. And there it is there. So then we'll go back to the app. So that's how you screenshot for the entire quilt on any of these pages that show the entire quilt. For the share save on this page or screen, it's just slightly different the way they name it. So if I click it, it takes you to the same screen, and then I'll just click drive again. And there, I'm calling my first block, I've called it my main block. And the reason why I'm calling it my main block is because that first block is the one that I pair with block 2, and then I pair it with block 3 in the quilts. So I just kind of designated it as something different. And I also am saving it as a JPEG. For some reason, I had to name this one as a JPEG, and I'm still not quite sure why. So when you see this one as a JPEG and the other ones, the other two as PNGs, don't be concerned. It just has to do with the software. So, but this screen where you save or share your block only, it doesn't have a timestamp. And so you could either just, you know, click on it and rename the whole thing, or you could go ahead and, you know, put a number after it, like quilt block 4 or whatever. Or you can rename it to Double Pinwheel black and whatever, tan red or something like that. And then you can click done or upload, whichever one you want. So if you click done, you can change your account again or hit upload right away. And then if you go into Google Drive, here's my quilt screenshots, the folder I saved it in, and there it is there. So it's my main block 4, and there it is. And so go back to the app. And so you could do the same thing with the rest of them. You know, if you wanted to save, say this block here, same thing. Say I want to go to drive, and this is your preview here. It's your PNG. And I could maybe, let's see if I can get it in the right spot. I could name it maybe white, red, black. That's kind of a long name, but, and I don't have to call it my third block. I could call it duck black, because it's duck and ducklings. So, you know, definitely be different. And then I'll just hit upload this time. And then again, if I go to Google Drive, it should be there. There it is. And there you go. So we'll go back to the app. And then the same thing for that one, of course. I can hit this back button, or I can hit this back button up there. I think I already mentioned this, I'm pretty sure, but if I say load temp 2, or, you know, come down here and load temp 3, if I do something with the quilt block, you know, down here on this, what we call canvas, say I chose a different color, and I went ahead and wanted to try that, and then I wanted to undo it. When I hit undo, notice it's only changing this down here. It's not changing any of the coloring, and I didn't assign this anywhere anyways. I could have, but maybe I didn't like it when I did this. So there's just so many options. It's just amazing. And if I just wanted to start all over again, I can reset to, this was an in-app design. Notice how these blue ones are close to the canvas here because they influence the canvas, whereas these two influence the color swatches, and they'll bring up your canvas or save your canvas. So if I want to reset this, I would just hit reset to the in-app 3, and or I can just load it again, whichever I like. And then if I did reset it and I did want to try this color, I probably should assign it. So let's see, where do I want to assign it? Do I want to replace the red? Maybe. So with it showing here, I'll click assign, and I'll hit temp save so that my coloring is saved, because sometimes I forget. And then, I don't know this time, should I put the green as my paint bucket here, my paintbrush? This is like my paintbrush. Maybe I'll put that there. And then maybe this time I'll put the black, and I'll still leave it white. And now I'll hit that temp save. So the other temp save is gone. And maybe I'll just try it and see how it looks. I'm not sure. So I'll see how 1 and 3 look together. That's 1 and 2. That's interesting. I'm not sure if it looks that great. I think I need to have a green in here. And I kind of think, I don't know if maybe the black should be replaced with this green or the red. Because if I replace the black, then we'll have red and green in the quilt and everything will tie together. But if I replace the red, then it'll really be a green quilt, you know. So you can try it both ways. So I would have to go all the way back home. I should have just hit the home button. And I can just hit load temp 1. And then now the coloring, if I wanted to get that green coloring, here's what I can do. Since I know this was my pinwheel, that just was my basic pinwheel, that, oh, actually, no. It looks like I switched this up at some point. I think I did. Oh, yeah, because this was at one point, this was black 3, and I did load temp 3 and turned it into black 1. But I'm going to go back to it being black 1 because, you know, the coloring is all still there. And I want to get that coloring from black 3 to show up here. So I'm going to hit load temp 3. And now I have that coloring. And now I'll just reset to pinwheel. And now I'll do the pinwheel with this coloring. So now I'm going to say this is my temp. It's confusing. Oh, look, I didn't have anything selected. Isn't that funny what showed up? I didn't have anything selected there. Okay, so hit the tan. And I'll just try and quickly go through this. And oh, so this is interesting. So the silver is going to be here. Let's go for it. And then this one, I'm getting in the way of the camera, sorry. And then we'll try the black. Oh, look, I made a mistake from the get-go. Look at my two greens are up here. That is a different look. It looks like two eyes looking at me and a beard. Let's undo. These are pointing in the same direction. Whoops. Really messed up because I'm trying to rush. So we got the green. And then, okay. Okay. And then we'll temp save that. And then we'll do see more. And then let's load this. Okay, that was that one with that coloring. So it brought back its own coloring. Notice the coloring here is the same as what we brought over, but we're going to load temp 3 because we want to see it in green with this green. So I replaced the red. So we'll compare all. We'll look at our quilt. So that's one. You can see it here with the green, and then there's the red. So yeah, that's just 2 pinwheels. Interesting. I really like that. I like how there's like a little bow tie there. It's cute. And I'm seeing things, I'm seeing a lot of movement. I don't know if I see a cross anywhere like I usually do. I can see there's the cross. Let's see this one. Oh, that's so beautiful. I love it. I absolutely love that. So I would definitely send that to someone. I mean, you can just go crazy with this. And I mean, look how simple. It's just 2 blocks for a whole quilt. Or, you know, you could just use this to get your color ideas and then make a different pattern completely if you wanted. I did want to show you this block, real simple. One last thing and I'll let you go. If I can remember, I think I have a screenshot of it with 2 other very simple blocks that come with the app. So let me go home. I took a screenshot of these. So this is the one that we have now in 3. And this is the spool that comes with the app. And I didn't fill it in. I didn't fill this in or this in, as you'll notice. And this is the 4X. And look, it's just simple, just 2 colors. And wait till you see the quilt with these. So I'm going to refer back to this so I can remember. I think I'm going to remember. So quilt 1 was the spool with red and silver. So let's go back to the app. So I'll go to my in-app button. So it was the spool. So these first 20 are in alphabetical except for these last two. Whoops, I brought up the square, I touched it. So here's the spool. And what was it? Red, but it was just these two. And wasn't it black? Let me see. Oh no, it was all red. Okay. So it was all red and then silver. I wonder how it would look with black there. That would look really cool. I'm blocking the camera again. So we'll temp save it, and then we'll do see more. And then this one was the 4X, and it was black and silver. So we'll go to our in-app, and that one there, and it was black. And I skip this one and go here, skip this and go here, but then I go here, and there, and then the rest would be silver. And then we'll temp save that. And then I believe this one, I just have to load temp. Oh, but it was the green. And how did I have it? Oh, okay, so I had black and then the red. So let's just, since I don't want to have any outlines, any ghost outlines of other colors, I'm going to, this was an in-app, so I'm going to reset to in-app. And what was it? It was black for these. I still forget. Oh, and everything else was red and just white then. Oh, but I don't have the red, but I have it up here, and that's the beauty. Everything, all my paintbrushes turn red, and I'll just assign it. I'll hit temp save just so I don't forget my coloring. And then my red is everywhere else. And I'll just temp save again. And now all these simple blocks, they look stunning in a quilt. So we'll see 1 and 2 and 1 and 3. Isn't that gorgeous? I just am blown away by the simplicity and the beauty. And that's because you have the dark and the light, you know, the contrast. And I could rotate this spool, and so it'll be sideways. And that I love. I just love this black. And think about it, I could make this black. I could put a black square in the middle like I was going to of that spool. So we can go back. Let's see, the spool was number 1. I'll just go home. I'll load temp 1, and I'll just make that black and then save it. And then see more. I'll load temp 2 again. I'll just load temp 3 again. And then I just want to see how it looks with that black. So that one, oh yeah, I love that. Because now we brought out the black from here and there. That's gorgeous. And this is an easy block to make. And this is just half square triangles here, 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 and here. And the rest are solid 2.5-inch squares or whatever. Or if you want to make the blocks really big, make it like a 12-inch. And of course you can do strip piecing. So this would be a strip, you know, a long strip of black, a long strip of silver, a long strip of silver, and then you just cut them into units. And then your half square triangles and a square, you know, you'd have to piece those together. But they would be so quick because you can do them what is it, 4 at a time, 8 at a time. There's one where you don't want to do it because you have the bias on the edges. I can't remember which one that was, but yeah. Oh, and here it is with this one. I forgot. Oh my gosh, I love them both so much. So I would definitely share save these. Definitely. They're just too gorgeous not to. So these now, remember, have a timestamp, and I'll just click upload just to save time. Yes. And I'll just upload those. So yeah, it's just, the sky's the limit, guys. So, you know, what started out as a harmless little app for doing the multi 4-color double pinwheel just turned into this massive, you know, expedition. And I'm pretty sure I brought in the picture of my dog. I don't think I edited that out, but I'm not sure if I did or not. But if I wanted to upload it from Messenger, and I don't know if I said I created the background in Krita. It's called Seamless Turbulence. It's one of their filters. The dog, I removed her background in GIMP. There was this really great video on how to do that. I could have made this more jagged, but I wasn't thinking. And I could send this to Spoonflower and have fabric made out of it, and then just fussy cut each square and have it part of a quilt. And so if I temp save that, now my spool is gone, but I can at least see how she looks real quick with these other ones. I don't know how she's going to look, but we'll load them and see. You never know. Oh, that's cute. That is cute. And I could bring some green into these somewhere. I can make this, I don't know if I would have a lot of green because there's a lot of green here, but maybe I'd make this like a 3-color 4X block. Not sure, but I like it like that even. And that's adorable. Now in this one, I could put the green in the center of that to bring it all together. Yeah, it's just crazy. And then don't forget, you have coloring book pages that you could bring in. That's another rabbit hole. But just know that any embroidery design that you bring in, as long as you leave it open and airy, like just the outlines, that's a coloring book page. So where was, oh, they were in Messenger, like this one. This one will color inside that heart and on the outside. I think I brought this one in, but I might have edited it out. I'm not sure. But for the sake of not wasting time, I'll just use these colors. And maybe I'll go there, there. So this is like a coloring book page. And maybe I'll just do that. I don't know how pretty this is going to be, but just the fact that it's this beautiful curly plant from Embird, the embroidery software that I teach. The curly plant feature is amazing in that software. So then I would temp save that, see more, load that. Oh, that would look good with the black and the black. And then I even forgot what I had here. Load temp 3. Okay. Oh, black again. Oh, I'll be very curious to see what this looks like. Oh my God. I am dying. That is gorgeous. Oh, I love that. And this is embroidery, or it could be applique. So you can applique each one of these hearts, and you don't have to applique each of the petals. That would probably be a lot of work. You could just embroider the petals, you know, fill it in with embroidery stitches on your machine, and then just do applique for just the heart itself, since it's so big. And you would, obviously, the little curlies would be embroidered. It wouldn't take much at all to make this. This is so easy to make. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm in love. I am in love. Well, I have to save everything. These have the timestamp, so I'll just go for it. Yes. Drive. Just upload it. I'm going to go back. I'd like to screenshot this, so since I don't feel like saving each one separately, I'm just going to screenshot it on my phone with my power button and my volume down. Let's get it in the right spot. Okay, at the same time. Oh, I did something else. I didn't do them at the same time. There we go. Oh my gosh. Well, I should let you guys go because I just get so carried away, honestly. This is just amazing. Let's load Temp 1. Beautiful. Let's load Temp 3. Gorgeous. I don't have any more pinwheels, but just know, you know, if you find a pinwheel combination you like, here's your strip sets down here. Here's your instructions. You know, this is for part 1. You press towards the dark, so 4 would have been the dark one, and 2 would have been dark, but these are switched. So you're basically pressing towards the dark on part 1, and you're putting right sides together, drawing your diagonal, going from top left to bottom right. Draw it, stitch on either side, cut it, spin your seams and press everything. And then part 2, this time you're pressing towards the lighter, so whatever you deem to be your light. So that's on those long strips before you cut these units. So you're pressing towards the light, and then right sides together, same diagonal, same stitching on either side of the diagonal, cut it down, spin your seams, and that would be part 2. And remember, part 2 is in blue. So part 2 makes a V. Whoops. Part 2 makes a V. Part 1 makes an upside down V or an A. And when you come in, the default is going to be part 1. So that's it in a nutshell, guys. I had so much fun. I'm learning so much about color. And like I said, maybe in my future updates, I'll get the dark light slider button down. And boy, that'll be amazing. And I'm hoping to put more free designs on the in-app as well. But I want to get a bunch of them together, you know. And like I said, I'll also have some on my website. And feel free to email me at wequiltstudio@gmail.com if you have any requests for outlines that, you know, I could either put in the app in the future, or I could put them on my website for you to purchase. Because as you know, I can't update a Google Play app like every time I just get one request, so I have to let them accumulate. But they'll be so cheap if I have them on my website, like, I don't know, $2 or something really, you know, cheap. So keep an eye out for that. And yeah, guys, it's been fun. So I hope you enjoy it. And if you have any questions, you can always contact me at any time. All right. Have fun quilting and coloring. Hey guys, 2 more things that I think I forgot to tell you. If you ever go to share save, a block or a quilt or what have you, and you go to Google Drive, say, and maybe your preview is the wrong preview, that just means you have to go into Google Drive and clear your cache in Google Drive. And I'll show you how to do that. If you don't want to clear it, don't worry, because your correct design will save, but it's nice to have the correct preview, right? So I'll show you how you go into Google Drive to clear your cache. So you go into your settings. You don't go into Drive, you go into your settings, because Google Drive is an app. So we go into settings. So here we are in our settings, and we're going to scroll down to where it says apps. So it's like right under device care. Sometimes I miss it. And you go down to Drive. So it's not even Google Drive, it's just Drive. And you click it. And then you scroll down to where it says Storage. And then you could see my cache is 57 kilobytes, which isn't much. And then you just come down here though and clear cache. You don't want to clear data, because I think that clears important parts of Drive itself. So you just clear your cache, and now it's 0 bytes. And then that should bring your preview back. If it doesn't, you can always clear the cache on the app itself. So this is TCQ, and you can go here. The only reason why I don't want to do it is because what if it clears my temp memory, which brings me to my next point. But my cache is only 193 kilobytes, so it probably isn't going to delete my temp memory. But you can clear cache there. And again, don't clear data, just clear cache, but I'm not going to. So if we go then back to the app, the other thing I wanted to tell you was on screen, on screen 1 and 2 at the top, it says delete all temp memory. So that's if you just want to clean your slate, of everything you pulled up, clean all of these load temps and resets and everything, and just clear everything. It'll ask you, because you might have hit it by mistake, are you sure you want to delete all temp memory? And I'm going to say no, because I don't want to. But if you say yes, then it'll pop up and say all temp memory has been deleted. But I'm going to say no. Whoops. When you don't have anything selected here, it usually shows up like that color or something. So anyways, this button is on page 1, and I have it white on page 1. I probably should make it silver to match screen 2. But it's the same thing, no. And then, so nothing was deleted. So I can still bring up all my stuff and all my designs and reset to pinwheel and everything, load temp 3, and so on. So I just didn't know if I mentioned that, because I've edited this so much. So hopefully I got everything covered. Okay, I'm really saying goodbye this time. All right, guys. See you next time. Bye.